Paula from Freezer Meals 101, and today we are making 3 tortellini meals for the freezer. I'm glad you joined me. If you're looking for more freezer meal recipes as well as meal prep ideas, tips and tricks that can help you save time in the kitchen and spend more time with your family, be sure to subscribe to me here on Freezer Meals 101. The first meal we're making today is a soup that I've been making for decades. It's hearty, it's great, and it's even got some veggies in there, so it works if you're trying to eat a little bit healthier. Now, this is a freezer meal, and normally I would be making it in a freezer bag, but today I'm actually making it for dinner, and I wanted to show you how you make it when you put it in the crock pot. So I'm going to be showing you putting it directly into your crock pot. Imagine though that we're putting all of these ingredients into a freezer bag. You're going to start with 1 chopped onion and then add a Tetra Pak of chicken broth, 1 jar of pasta sauce, 3 cloves of minced garlic. I just used jarred minced garlic today to save time, 3 teaspoons Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of chili flakes. I added a bit more because we like things spicy. 3 cups of frozen mixed veggies. I'm using an Italian style blend that has a lot of different veggies in there, so you can use whatever is your family's favorites. And then you're gonna do 2 to 3 cups of water. Now, my trick for the water is that I actually measure out the water and then pour it into the empty pasta sauce container, because that way I can shake it up and pour it in, and I'm not wasting a drop of that pasta sauce, and it cleans out the jar really nicely for me so I can recycle it. Now you're going to cook that on low for 4 to 6 hours if you're putting it directly into the crock pot, and then you'll be adding the tortellini at the end, simmer for 15 minutes, and then if you want, you can top it with some Parmesan, and if you like things spicy, add some of those chili flakes again. Now if you're doing it for the freezer, you'll do everything that we initially did and put it into a large freezer bag. You can add the water at that time, or you can add the water on the day you cook it if you want to save some space in your freezer and have the bag be less thick. So, and then on the day you cook it, you're just gonna add your tortellini. So that is it for that recipe. It's really that simple. And you've got tortellini soup already made. The next recipe that we're going to do is a baked Alfredo tortellini. This is really good, and it's amazingly easy to make. So normally when I get my tortellini, I buy the 3-pack from Costco, and I get the rainbow 3 cheese tortellini. I didn't want to risk the Costco lines right now. We have COVID restrictions where I am, and the Costco line last week when I went was insane. I didn't want to risk that again today, so I just picked up some jumbo packs of tortellini from the grocery store. Now, the reason I like to get the 3-pack is because when Christy and I make our marathon freezer meals and make for 3 months at a time, we get 2 of the 3-packs, and then we can make 6 of the, actually last time I think we made 12, but normally we can make 6 tortellini meals with 2 of the 3-packs. You can also take the 3-pack and take some scissors and just slice it along the lines, and then freeze the tortellini if you're not going to be using all of it. So it's another nice little tip for you. So for this baked Alfredo tortellini, again, super easy and lots of variations that you can do. This is one that I pulled out of my freezer to show you how normally I make it in freezer bags, because I just find that these containers take up a lot of space in my freezer, and then we can't keep as many meals in there. So I like to do them right in the freezer bag. The drawback to doing them in the bag is that you can't put this obviously directly into the oven, whereas if you make it in a foil container or a casserole dish, then you can put it from the freezer directly into the oven or thaw it in the dish and put it in the oven. So you have to judge what's more important to you, convenience or freezer space, and make your decision based on that. So I am just adding a jumbo packs, that's is it 1 pound? I think it's 1 pound of cheese tortellini right in there. And then I'm doing 2 jars of Alfredo sauce. So I buy these Classico jars. There's also another brand, I don't remember the brand name, but that has similar jars. And the reason that I do this is not so much the flavor of the Alfredo, which is fine, it's good, it tastes like an Alfredo, but it's for the jar. Because when these are cleaned out, they make a really nice cup. So they look like a mason jar when they're clean, and you can use it as a drinking glass. They also have measurements, 4 ounces and 8 ounces on the side. So I just like the look of these mason jar bottles. And because we have a lot of teens and we know that some of them eventually will be moving out, it's one of those things where I can keep collecting these, and then when they move out, they can have a set of glasses already. So I actually have 2 sets of 12 already because we make this meal so often. So now I'll have 2 sets of 12 plus these extra 2. So you can use a spatula to scrape out the rest of it. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I don't like to waste food, so I scrape out as much as I can get. Also, when you're feeding a large family of 9, you need all the food you can get. So just giving that a scrape here. Now, I was saying that you can make a lot of variations of this. So you can add into this a little bit of pesto. You can add sun-dried tomatoes. You can add cooked cubed chicken, or I guess shredded. We always do cubed. You can add some bacon and sun-dried tomato. What else do I do? Oh, one of our favorites is sliced mushrooms and frozen peas. That's a really good one. And because it's cheese tortellini, then it's a vegetarian meal. So yeah, that's one of our favorites. When we add the pesto, we don't like to add too much. We find it's a bit too rich if you add too much, so just like a couple of tablespoons is enough. So we've got our Alfredo there, and today I'm doing bacon. So I had some bacon left over from some other freezer meals that I made the other day. Just going to slice it in there with the kitchen scissors. It's hard to go wrong with bacon. And drop that in there. These kitchen scissors are going to need a good wash. Okay, I'm going to wash these. I'll be right back. Now we're going to add about 1 cup of mozza cheese. So I just got some pre-shredded to, again, save a bit of time. And normally, again, I would get it at Costco, but this time I had to get it at the grocery store. So it's a smaller bag than I would usually have. It doesn't have to be exact measurements here. We're just going for the general idea. And even when you make it, this is a no-fail recipe. So you're gonna give that a stir. And again, this can be something you mix up in a bowl and then add into freezer bags. or it can be something where you throw all the ingredients into a freezer bag and then give it a really good squish to mix it all together before sealing, getting out the extra air, and freezing. So that is nice and mixed. I'll just show you what that looks like so far. With the rainbow tortellini, it's nice and colorful, so I like that. So that's it so far. And then we are going to put some grated Parmesan on top. You can use Parmesan or Asiago for the top. And so you're gonna do 1/4 to 1/2 cup. And again, just eyeball it, throw that on top. Now, before you put this in the freezer, you wanna add foil, and you want to lay it right directly on top of the pasta. You don't wanna put it just over the container because you don't want any air in there. And then if you want to, you can add an extra layer of foil just on the container just so that it sits nicer in the freezer. And seriously, that's it. So that is your baked Alfredo tortellini, and let me look up the cooking instructions. 375 for 30 minutes, or if you're putting it directly from the freezer into the oven, then you're gonna cook it for about an hour at 375, and you're gonna take the foil off in the last 10 minutes or so, and that's it. Dinner is done. So you've got that one, and then this next one is a skillet meal. So we've got this Italian sausage that I cooked up earlier on a baking tray. I'll just show you. It's a similar package to this, which is 500 grams of Italian sausage. The one I used for this was a herbed Italian one, but it doesn't matter what kind you use. You can use spicy Italian, you can use just a mild, or like I said, this basil one I thought would be really nice. So you're gonna add these little, I call them sausage meatballs. I don't really know what the proper name is, but basically I squished the sausage out of the casing onto a baking sheet, baked them in 350-degree oven, flip them over halfway through. They don't need long to cook. Watch yours a little better than I watched mine because mine have too much of a sear on them. A little bit on the burnt side. And then you can transfer them into your freezer bag. I like to blot mine on a paper towel first so that you're getting the grease off. And then we're gonna add peppers. I've got a mixture of green, yellow, red, and orange here. Just gonna add that in. You can do sliced peppers or cubed, chopped, whatever you want. I had some sliced mushrooms from a lunch that I made earlier, and again, I don't like to waste food, so I'm just adding that in. You don't need the mushrooms, they're not in the original recipe, but I always like to add extra vegetables whenever I can. And then an onion, this is purple, but you can use white or purple, whatever you want. And then we're going to add our tortellini. I'm gonna use this larger container for the soup later. And because they had run out of the large containers, I got 2 small ones here. I'll just add that. You should add 1 large or 2 small. I'm gonna add that. Now this is gonna make a skillet meal. So the nice thing about this is that we've taken tortellini, which you can get in many varieties, and we have made it into a soup, a pasta bake, and a skillet meal. So we have a lot of variety here. So add our tortellini. This is gonna be a really thick bag when it's done, but that's okay. That's how it goes sometimes. And 1 jar of pasta sauce. So when you go to cook this, you're going to take it out of the freezer to thaw, and then you're gonna add the whole thing into a skillet, cook it over like medium heat covered, give it a stir once in a while, and the tortellini should cook right up. You'll add about 1/4 cup of water just so that there's enough liquid for the tortellini to absorb. And this won't look at all soupy when it's done because the tortellini will absorb the moisture of the pasta sauce so as it's cooking. So we're gonna actually seal it without getting the air out first, and then toss it around to mix everything there. Now we're going to take out that extra air because in case you're new to freezer cooking, air is what causes your freezer burn. So air is the enemy, and you want to get as much air out of your freezer meals as you can. So that one will now lay flat in the freezer, and it's really nice and colorful, and you can see that it's quite different from the other two meals. So we have taken just a regular package of tortellini and transformed it into 3 different recipes. If you enjoyed these tips today, then I invite you to subscribe or like this video. Thanks guys for joining me. It was fun. Happy cooking.